Hey you guys, so throughout the video, you're going to be hearing me referring to myself as being a teacher assistant instead of a school counselor, since I worked one-on-one with the student all day, every day for like 4 weeks. However, I'm aware that what I was doing could be titled something else, like maybe a student aide or a one-on-one aide. However, teacher assistant is a terminology we use at my school, so just keep that in mind as I'm going throughout the video. But I hope you guys enjoy this story time. Well, hello, school counselors and school counselors to be. Thank you guys so much for coming to my channel, The Inspiring School Counselor. And today, you guys, I'm going to have a story time with you all. If you guys paid attention to my YouTube short that I posted not too long ago, I began to just talk about how if only my love for my students was expressed in the amount of steps that I took in a day. And I began to show you guys how I took like 17,400, I think it was like 65 steps, all for one student in one day. That's like from 7:15 all the way to 3:15. And let me tell y'all, it was a day. And so I wanted to really share this with you guys because, for one, I just wanted to, for all you school counselors to be out there, to give you kind of a glimpse of what your day could possibly look like. And for me, it actually didn't last just that one day. It actually lasted for me 4 weeks. In fact, I was pretty much no longer a school counselor. I was literally being a teacher assistant. And yes, I did advocate for myself, but at the same time, and I'll get more into that when we get more into the video, but I just knew the needs of this student I needed to be there. And so I will definitely talk to you guys about that later on in the video. So right now, if you have not subscribed, make sure you subscribe and make sure you hit that notification bell so that you can be notified every time I upload a video. So let's go ahead and get into this story time. All right, you guys, so I'm going to start just before this student had came in. You guys are going to hear me say this student a lot. That's because I need to protect the confidentiality of the student. And so, of course, as a school counselor, y'all know we're not going to break confidentiality, okay? I don't got time for that. And I definitely want to keep my job, okay? But I wanted to shed some light on this. But I'm going to start before the student came. I did like a vlog for you guys, like a little school counselor vlog and everything. Things was going pretty smooth. I was able to get through my whole month of August, getting everything together from my needs assessment, doing individual counseling, and I was actually getting ready to start getting my small groups together. And I also had finished up getting my lessons planned for the year. And it was at the first week of September, I actually started teaching my first lesson, which was personal safety, to my second graders. And so everything was going good, you guys. And I ended up actually getting an email from somebody that basically was saying, hey, this student is going to be coming to your school, and I just want to let you guys be aware. This student has this, that, and the other going on with them. And so just be aware that this student is going to be coming. So, of course, I read it, and I just didn't know I was going to be involved with the student as much as I was involved with this student. And so I just read, of course, I'm like, okay, the student is coming. I'm sure I'm going to meet him or her, and it's going to be good. I'm going to meet them and everything like that. And so the day that the student was supposed to come, that student ended up not showing up. And so, of course, I forget. I'm up here doing other things with other students and doing individual counseling. I have my 504 meetings and all that stuff like that going on. So that's far from my mind. So it was the next day. So the student was supposed to come on a Monday. That student didn't end up showing up until that Tuesday. And let me tell you guys, the day that student showed up, you knew that he was in the building, okay? You can hear the screaming, you can hear the fast pattering of the feet, meaning the student was running, and all I know is that all these, grown-ups, the principal, some teacher assistants, some different ones, was just trying to surround this, this student, not in an overbearing way or nothing like that, but just trying to make sure that the student is safe and not trying to run outside of the building, and also just trying to make sure that the student knows that they're there to care for them. And so when I'm walking into it, I just know like, oh my gosh, like this is the student that is supposed to be coming. And so, of course, me as being the school counselor, one of the things that I do, and for all of you guys that might be new coming to this channel, I work in a primary setting. And so I'm with pre-K through second grade. And a lot of the students that come in, they might cry or they might be what we call our runners. I'm usually the ones to kind of take care of them. And I'm able to de-escalate them for the most part. And so, of course, when I seen this, I'm like, okay, let me go in and help as much as I can. And so it ended up being where it wasn't as easy. It wasn't easy, okay? And you guys are going to find that as school counselors, you can pull out all the tools. But just know that sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. And sometimes it might take you implementing it a lot before you actually see, the benefits of it, working on that student. And so I was trying to, calm the student and everything like that, along with, of course, my other support system that was around, my principal and all that. But it just wasn't working, and that student was on the go. You're talking about, you guys, it was just up and down all day. If we wasn't running in the hallways, it was a student banging on each of the classroom doors. And it actually had to got to a point where we actually had to send out an email, my principal did, to let all the teachers and everything know, hey, we have a new student in the building. You might encounter this new student. They might be banging on the doors. Just try to ignore it as much as you can. Don't worry about opening up the doors or anything like that. And so that actually had to be out because that was like nonstop. And also we were running so if we were in the cafeteria running and him getting up on the stage and everything, trying to run away, it was him running in the hallways and trying to get to other places, trying to exit out the building. So it took quite a few of us. It was me, the school counselor, my principal, the speech pathologist, the behavior interventionist. It was actually two other interventionists that was in there. And we're all just trying to guard doors to make sure that the student can't run outside of the building. We're just trying to make sure we don't want to be up on this student because coming from the background that this student came from, we don't want to be overpowering or anything like that. But we do want that student to know that, okay, we want you to be safe. And so with that being said, it got to the point where we were finally able to get the student in the classroom. And y'all, when we got in the classroom, we wasn't even in there for 5 or 6 minutes the most. After that, it was running out. And so we couldn't, hold him down, and you can't do that. So we just had to allow this student to get used to being in this school setting, being amongst strangers that the student didn't know, being amongst other kids that he's probably not used to being around, being around a whole lot of kids. And so this was a very new environment. Somehow, you guys, I was able to build a relationship with him the first day that he came. I began to kind of talk to him and trying to figure out what he liked. And I couldn't really hardly understand him. But for the most part, what I was able to gather was that he liked basketball. So I began to talk about LeBron James and all those different people. And so it really began to grow a bond with me and him. And so that whole day, we made it. We survived. 17,400, I believe 65 or 67 steps in. Y'all, we survived the day. And so I was like, okay, I know that we're trying to get things in place in my school. So we didn't really have any resources in place for this student because we didn't know that with the student coming, the amount of help that was going to be needed to help him. And I ended up being with him and also the speech pathologist. Now, the next day, let me bring it back. So the first day we began to, as we are in the gym playing with him and everything like that, we began to try to teach him like small things like sharing. And then we began to think about what are some things that we are going to want for him to express to us so that we can, of course, easily understand what he is saying because it was hard to understand him. And so what are some things that we want him to know or we want him to be able to talk to point to so that we can get a feel of what it is that he wants. And so throughout the day, and even talking to my principal, and it was a great idea, she began to say, okay, let's think of some things that we want him to know. And we actually got one of our behavior interventionists to make a visual schedule for this student. Also, like visual cue cards for this student as well. And I'm going to show you guys these cue cards as well. And then a then and now. Now, I didn't know she was going to make this, but I'm so glad that she did. And I'm going to explain all those things to you guys a little bit later on in the video. And so the first day, we got done with it. We were able to survive. Y'all, the next day, it was like night and day. I go from taking 17,000 something steps to taking only about 8,000 steps, you guys. It was amazing. Like, he was able to stay in the classroom a little bit longer than he did the first day, which was good. And also, we had ready and available for him cards. And I want to show you guys this. So one of the first things that our behavior interventionist made for us, I'm just going to say behavior specialist, but y'all, let me tell y'all, it's a long word to say interventionist. So, but anyway, this is a visual schedule. The first thing is breakfast, then classroom, then lunch, back to the classroom, then recess, related arts, and then at the end of the day, you get to go home. And so what we would do is, as we finish each thing, we would close it off, okay? And so, and you could do it either way. You could either start it with it all being closed like this, and then only focus on like maybe 2 other items and say, look, after breakfast, then we're going to go to the classroom. So you could do it however which way you want to do it. We've done it both ways, and it worked. Let me tell you guys, it got to the point, even the second day, where he grabbed it and he was like, this is what I want to do right now. Like, it really worked really well with him. And I'm so glad that she made these for us. And so we definitely use these the first, I would say, 2 weeks of school for him. And after that, he didn't even need this no more. But using this visual schedule meant a whole lot, and it really helped us to be able to communicate with him what is going on. So that is something that we use. Another thing that we use for him, which I didn't really use it that much, but I did pull it out, was this then and now chart, okay? So first, I'm sorry, not then and now, is this first and then chart, okay? I absolutely love this. First of all, on the back, got all the different activities that we will be doing, we'll be working on throughout the day. And then what you do is, I want to give you guys an example. So let's say first the student is supposed to be doing their work. So we will show this. Okay, first you have to do your work, and then, I'm sorry, y'all, then you can play. And I would show this to him, and he would be like, no, I don't want to do that. But it was still just good to show him, like, hey, give you a visual. First we do this, then we do this, okay? Or let's say if the student is playing with toys, and maybe they want to go for a walk or something like that. Then you could show them, all right, first we play with our toys, but when we're done with our toys, then it's time to clean up. I don't know if you guys can see that. And it shows a picture of that boy cleaning up. So I was glad to have this as a resource to use for him. I pulled it out a couple of times, but I didn't pull it out that much because I just needed something that I can use right then and there. And it would just take a lot for me to try to take off and put on and everything like that. But this was still good to use during the times that I needed to pull it out and use it. But one of the best things that we could ever do for him, and we put together for him, was these visual cue cards. These are the main things that we work with this student with. All right, so, and I'm going to go through these with you guys. So this first one says stop. On all of our doors, our exit doors, we have this big red stop sign on it to let the students know that, look, this is where you stop. You do not go out these doors unless an adult is with you, unless we have to, if it's like a fire drill or something like that. Those only times. This was something that was very beneficial for us to use with him, because not only did he see it on the doors, but we also was able to reinforce it too. Again, like, no, you have to stop. You cannot go. And even though he would kind of hesitant, act like he's about to push on it, but still yet, he was just like, okay, I'll wait, or I'm not going to do that. He didn't voice that, but you could just tell by his actions. And so this was very important to have. I also pulled this out if, let's say, if he was trying to jump off a chair or something like that. Maybe he decided to want to stand up on a chair. Then I would say, no, stop. You need to get down. And then I would point to that. And that would cause him to have like some type of hesitation, like, okay, I'm not supposed to do this. So it was really good to pull this out. Another thing that we had was this picture of this boy walking. And this was just to know, like, when we noticed that he was probably getting a little rowdy, then we would show this and it would be like, okay, let's go for a walk. And then let me tell y'all, as soon as I showed this picture, he was like, grab my hand, let's go. Okay. And so now let me tell you guys, once we got out, it was no longer grabbing the hand. It was now I'm trying to run. And so I still yet had to run a whole lot during the process. It wasn't until the 4th week when I was able to, not have to run after him. He would actually walk. And I was just so proud of him. The next thing that we had on here was a picture of when it's time to eat. So he was able to see, hey, we're getting ready to go to the cafeteria right now. So that was really good to show. When it's time to sit, so if we're in the classroom and he's standing up and stuff, I would be like, okay, it's time to sit. That was a good visual to have. We did not really use this, only a couple of times, but this just shows it's time for you to sit calm. This was a wave. So like before I was telling you guys, he would bam on the classroom doors. We tried to teach him, no, don't bam on the classroom doors, just wave. And so I didn't pull this out that many times. That first week, he only took like maybe the first and second day he was bamming on the doors. But after that, he wasn't really doing a whole lot of that. And then this one just was a picture if he had to go to the bathroom. And so we would say, okay, do you have to go to the bathroom? Or he would actually grab our note cards and he would turn to it and he would point to it that this is what I need to do right now. And then we wanted to teach him what bathroom to go in, because he was going into the girls' bathroom. And so we were like, no, you don't go to the girls' bathroom. But once he was in there, y'all, we couldn't stop him. He was already in there. And so we did want to practice with him going to the boys' bathroom. By the 4th week, you guys, he was doing really good going into the boys' bathroom. And then it starts back from the beginning. So I would wear this on my lanyard. And you guys, it was just easy, ready to go. And it was everything that we needed in that day for him. And then I no longer had to pull out these. And let me tell you guys, it was definitely a game changer for us when we were able to get these. But as I look, going throughout the weeks, 4 weeks being with this student, and like I shared with you guys before, I was no longer operating as a school counselor. I was literally a teacher assistant. And especially that first week, like, it wasn't until Friday when I was actually able to get an assistant that was supposed to be with me, because the speech pathologist, she couldn't be with me because she had testing and different things to do, but she was such a big help. And there were some days where it was just me, and it was just me and this student and trying to transition him and everything. And y'all, it was a mess a couple days, but we was able to survive it. We was able to get through it. But it wasn't until that Friday of the first week of that student being there where, okay, I was able to have, an actual teacher assistant that was going to be assigned to him with me. And even though, like, my principal, she wanted it to be where I would be able to be removed from that spot. But you guys, I just knew that it wasn't going to be able to work, because this student needed 2 assistants with him. Because he was a runner still and trying to get acclimated with the school and everything, I knew that he was going to need not just one, teacher assistant. I was going to have to be that big part too. And also, we built a relationship. It's so funny that in that short time of me knowing him and him knowing me, we were able to build a really strong bond, and to the point where he would look for me. Like, once I was gone, he'll be like, I would come back, and then the others that was with him would be like, he was looking for you. And so I did not want to break that. And I wanted to also help the teacher assistant, knowing that she was new coming in. I wanted her to feel comfortable as well. I think it was the best decision in what was given to us in such a short notice, and not having the resources available to be able to provide the student with really what the student needed. And I do not regret at all being able to step in for those 4 weeks, being able to attend and help out and sit with the student in the classroom. So it went from being in the classroom for 5 or 6 minutes in a day. Each day it grew. Like the next day he stayed in there for like 2 hours. And then as time progressed, like the 4th week, let me tell you guys, we stayed in there 8 o'clock all the way to 10:30. Then it was time to transition to lunch. He walked to lunch in a line, being able to hold hands with another student. I mean, it was such great gains. We also noticed that he was able to communicate with us more and better, where we didn't really have to use these the 4th week anymore. And it was just such a reward seeing how he was able to grow in that short amount of time. And so I just wanted to share this story with you guys, just to, for you guys to see what I have been up to this past 4 weeks. But I absolutely love, and I don't regret that time that I was able to spend with that student and being able to build the relationship with him, as well as with the teacher assistant that was working with me. We even was able to build a friendship, and it was just a really good time. And I'm telling you guys, I would not regret it. And so maybe you find yourself in this same position where now you are being a teacher assistant instead of a school counselor. By no means am I telling you to, stick with what you're doing. Still yet, I say advocate for yourself, because that's definitely what I did. I talked to my principal as soon as I realized that, okay, this is a week with me being with the student and I have things I need to do. And I talked to my principal and she heard me out and she made a plan. However, we both knew that, okay, still yet I might have to be called. And at that point, I was okay, because I seen how dedicated my principal was to try to make a way for me. And I appreciate my principal so much for that. But definitely advocate for yourself. Put the word out there. Let them know, look, this is really not my job. But if it is that I'm doing this, and there's certain things I'm not going to be able to do. She knew, look, you are tied up right now, so I know that there's certain things that you're not going to be able to do. Honey, it's okay. I understand. And I really love that. Now, there were some things that I still had to do, though. When there was a 504 meeting, I still had to make sure I scheduled those and attend that. I didn't let you guys know. So not only am I the school counselor at my school, but I also had to step in as a school counselor at my neighboring school to do 504s and behavior plans and stuff like that. So I had a heavy load. But what I love is that everybody that was working with me, the teachers, my behavior specialist, the principal. And so I just really love that everybody was able to understand and being willing to work with me. So I'm so happy to just finally be able to have this talk with you guys. Currently, I'm not going to be working with this student at that level anymore after fall break. So when we're back from fall break, y'all, it's back to me being a school counselor, okay? And I'm excited for it, because there was a lot of students that wanted me to pull them for individual counseling that I wasn't able to do. There was a lot of students that miss having those guidance lessons from me, and they weren't able to get them. And so I'm just happy to get back on track and back in the flow. There's a certain part of me that's going to miss being with that student, because, y'all, 4 weeks, being able to build that bond with that student was just, I tell you what, it was a beautiful thing. But I thank you guys so much for taking out the time to listen to me, listen to the story time. I'm sorry, y'all, it was so long. I just wanted to share this with you guys. If you can relate in any way to this story, please put it down in the comments below, because not only would I like to read it, but I know others would like to read it as well. And let me know, guys, what are some things that you guys want me to post here on the channel? What are some things that you want me to get into? Put it down in the comments below. All right, you guys, I'll see you next time.